On Sports that you're listening to here with Hayden Clankhammer, Ian Sellers, and Keevron. Go ahead and move yourself in my camera because we have Keevron as a guest today. He's with Ian, and he's also a friend from high school. A little bit of a theme that you've seen. So, we've got a lot of things to talk about today. DeMar DeRozan. We talked about DeMar DeRozan last time, and Hayden seemed to think that the appropriate word for DeMar DeRozan was a bum. Now, I'm not going to go that far necessarily, but we'll go ahead and start talking about that. Is DeMar DeRozan a star, a bum, somewhere in between, somewhere else?
Sorry.
Hayden, let's hear your trash. All right.
DeMar DeRozan. Thank you. I have loved DeMar DeRozan has played for the Toronto Raptors the past 4 years. It has been
a different person.
It has been wonderful. I have loved that DeMar DeRozan has been the one standing in front of LeBron going to the finals. It has been fantastic because I have not one time been worried about DeMar DeRozan.
Not even when they took you to 7 games?
When did they take us to 7 games?
Didn't they take you to 7 games?
No.
No, they took you to 7 games at least once.
The closest they got was Game 6 when they won 2 in Toronto, and then, yeah. And even then, it was Kyle Lowry's show.
Why is he bad?
What?
Why is he bad? Why is he a bum?
Because he can't pass, he can't defend, he can't shoot beyond 20 feet. He doesn't do anything else, and he's not even really that efficient of a 2-point scorer.
Wow.
Let me read you his career 2-point percentage. He is a 47% 2-point percentage shot. He, for his career, shoots 45%.
For a 2-point?
No, for his career. Field goal percentage.
I'm seeing 47%.
For a 2-point percentage.
Yeah.
And then total field goal percentage, he shoots 45%.
On his career.
Yes. And he didn't even start doing that until 2016, and he barely got above 45%.
No, look. DeMar DeRozan is not a bum.
He doesn't pass. He doesn't play defense.
So what's your take? You say
he doesn't pass?
Yeah, he doesn't get assists, no.
He has 6.2 assists per game.
In San Antonio, where he has to move the ball or he doesn't play.
5.2 assists last year in Toronto.
What about before that?
3.9, 4.0. He had another 4.0. Those are good shooting guard statistics.
Career stats. Early in his career, his numbers are skewed down because he didn't come into the NBA as like an all-star caliber player.
Is he an all-star caliber player right now?
Yes.
How many all-star games he made? What is the criteria to be considered a star in the NBA? You make the all-star team, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's a 4-time all-star, 2-time all-NBA. So how are you going to tell me he's a bum? His career, he has 6 seasons averaging over 20 points a game. 2016 was his best year. He averaged almost 28. He averaged 28, 5.2 rebounds, almost 4 assists.
Can you read his playoff stats, please?
He's a star player to me. He's not one of the best players in the league, but I think you said he's not even top 30 in the league.
He's not a top 30 player in the league.
You're not even close to right with that. Not even close.
I can name you 30 players.
Do you want to?
Go ahead.
Would you like me tomorrow or next time we do this? I will have a list of 40 players that are better than DeMar DeRozan.
Did you say 40?
40.
He says he's going to list 40 players that are better than DeMar DeRozan.
40. In the NBA right now, there are 40 players that are better than DeMar DeRozan.
Hey, Keevron.
Yeah.
That's what we have to deal with. 40.
I don't know what to say. I mean, definitely not 40, definitely not 30. But, I mean, he's at least somewhere in the 30. He's definitely top 30.
Top 30, I would think.
He's in that 20 to 30 range. He's somewhere in there.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
Right now, who would you take this year, Luka Doncic or DeMar DeRozan?
Luka, but I think Luka was the top 20 player this year.
That's not true, but anyway.
You think Luka what?
Oh! You know what? I'd like to look at yesterday's podcast. I'd like someone to go back and roll that back because I could have swore Hayden said top 20 player this year. I'm pretty sure I heard you say it.
I heard it too.
I said Luka was a top 20 player this year.
Yes.
Okay, you can make that argument. Fine.
Okay, so let's say he was a top player this year. So how would I not argue that he's better than DeMar DeRozan if I think DeMar is somewhere between 20 and 30?
I think Luka Doncic is way better than DeMar DeRozan already.
Okay, good. So we don't disagree there.
Okay, perfect.
You're still wrong.
All right, whatever you said. Give me a reason that he's a star.
He's a star?
I feel like I just did.
He's made an All-Star game in 3 of the last 4 seasons.
Interesting. Okay.
2 seasons ago, he was at 27.3 points per game on good field goal percentage. This year, actually,
that was a great year for him.
Yeah. Now that was 2 seasons ago, so I'll keep it recent. But 21.2 points per game this year. That's not amazing, but that's certainly notable on 48% shooting. I think he's
the guy y'all consider a bum. Mike Conley is averaging 21 points a game this year. That means nothing.
Wait, you said we consider him a what?
A bum?
No. Ian may have said
he's
that.
Not a Hall of Famer. We didn't say he's a bum. We said he's not a Hall of Famer.
You called him a below-average point guard.
He might have said that to get to you.
Yeah, but I mean, realistically, he's an average point guard.
I think he's above average. I don't think that he is a Hall of Famer. That was all I was ever saying.
Okay.
But I think that
just in context, Mike Conley's averaging 21 points a game this year. That means nothing. 21 points a game is.
That's great. I think that's also one thing that needs to be noted is that's probably Mike Conley's best career average, whereas DeMar DeRozan, this is his worst average in the last 4 years and second worst in the last 6. And it's still a very impressive season. He's shooting 48%. He's bad at three-point shooting. You're absolutely right. But he also doesn't take many threes. I think that he's gotten to a point where he's taken a lot smarter shots and he's moved the ball around pretty effectively in San Antonio.
So
one of the better.
San Antonio, he has to. Last year he took 3.7 threes a game at 31%.
Yeah.
To me, that's a lot of threes.
Yeah, no, he probably shouldn't have.
Yeah, but obviously
he's a bad player though.
San Antonio playing under Popovich, you're not going to be the same player you were in Toronto.
Exactly.
So if you're holding him to, if you're judging him based on how he did this year, I don't think that's fair.
So where do you think he ranks on that roster?
He's the best player.
What about you, Hayden?
I would take LaMarcus Aldridge over him.
Second.
Did you say DeJounte Murray yesterday?
I think DeJounte Murray is more important to the Spurs than DeMar DeRozan.
They don't make the playoffs without DeMar DeRozan.
Not true.
They might make the playoffs. I think that no. They still make the playoffs without DeJounte Murray, and they actually have even some decent point guard play this season without Murray. I'm not saying it's great, but it was decent.
Defensively and doing all the right things that which Popovich likes. That DeJounte Murray is more important than DeMar DeRozan on that team.
I don't know, man.
Then who is?
I think it's close. I would probably say I'd take LaMarcus Aldridge over him, but not by much.
You take LaMarcus Aldridge over DeMar DeRozan?
Yeah, just by a little bit. Mm-hmm. And okay. How about this? I'll say this: this year I would take LaMarcus Aldridge over, of course, DeJounte Murray because he was injured, over DeMar DeRozan. But the last 5 years, I'm absolutely taking DeMar DeRozan
easily. But if you remove either one of those players, if you remove LaMarcus Aldridge or you remove DeMar DeRozan, either one of the two, since the Spurs are already I think they were a 7th seed, right? So they're already a borderline playoff team. If they lose one of those two players, they're not making the playoffs. I don't. You take a player you take one of the best two players on a team, averaging over 20 points a game. You're probably not winning enough to make it in.
I agree. Hayden, do you have any other comments about?
No, go ahead.
It's irrelevant.
No.
You might as well just.
I don't know if I agree with that or not, but I think that it's certainly a conversation.
Switching up on me, shit, Kennedy.
Hey, I'll be honest. I kind of zoned out, and then by default, I was like, yeah, Ian, I agree. So at least that tells you how much respect I have for you. Whereas Hayden, I could be zoning out. He could be preaching the gospel up here, and I'd say I disagree, because it's Hayden, So
yeah, I'd cover my face too if I were you.
But anyway, we can move on to our next topic. So we have a list of 12 teams that Ian got sent by a friend, and it'll be on the screen. We'll put that in there. But we want to debate which young team would be the best of these 12 teams. So Ian, I'd like to hear your thoughts on which team, or maybe even which top 3 teams you would probably pick.
Yeah. So the way it's separated on the list, he probably found it on Facebook or something, but it's separated by a month. So each team is listed as 1 month. Yeah. But I think the best 3, in no order right now.
No, it has to be in an order.
Yeah, I'm going order.
Order?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Start with 3.
Okay. Number 3. Number 3 being October. Ben Simmons, Buddy Hield, Cameron Jordan, Lauri Markkanen, Mitchell Robinson.
Number 3.
Number 3.
Go ahead.
Number 2, November, Colin Sexton, Devin Booker, Cam Reddish, Kuzma, and Wendell Carter. Do I have disagreements here?
I'm laughing at Hayden.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Number 1, their 4 is weighing them down a little bit, but I still think they're the best team. And y'all probably going to give me hell for taking a team with a college player in it. But March, Lonzo Ball, Luka Doncic, RJ, Jonathan Isaac, and Bam.
That's the only one I agree with you on.
Yeah, it's tough because they've got at the 3 they've got a player who hasn't played in the NBA yet, and then
that's the same with October though.
Yeah, it's the same thing, but it's still a projected top 3 pick, so it's not like this guy's not going to. He's going to turn into something in the NBA. We don't know exactly what he could be. A star, he could be an alright player, could be not very good at all. But it's not like he's going to be out of the league in 2 years. And then Jonathan Isaac, I think, is what weighs down that team quite a bit because I don't think he's a very good player. But if you took him out and you took, I don't know, you took Marvin Bagley.
A bench player.
Yeah. You take a lot of those 4s and put them on that team. I think they're a lot better. But I think they're probably the best roster overall. I think Hayden probably agrees with me on number 1 just because that's his boy.
Who?
Luka. That's his guy.
But isn't he he's not a Mavs fan?
No, but he's a big Luka fan.
Luka does ball.
I rock with Luka.
Did you say that was your number 1 team though?
My number 1 team.
Interesting.
Now, a little context. If you would have given me 5 minutes to look it over, my order may have been a little different. I just picked 3. I didn't really have them in order. And I think all 3 of those are pretty close. So.
Okay.
What? Which one of October's Hayden's number 1?
Hayden, do you want me to go while you have time to recover?
Yep, go ahead. Okay. Oh, wait, Keevron.
Hey,
go.
Oh, I don't have I have him in.
We're gonna let the guest go.
Nah, I don't have one.
I don't know. How about this? You can look over the list. I'll go. I don't want you to be put on the spot just yet.
Yeah.
So I think my number 3, I'm going to go ahead and say May with Kobe White, Jaylen Brown, Josh Jackson, Kristaps Porzingis, and Miles Turner. So I love Kristaps Porzingis. I think that's a really good defensive lineup, minus Kobe White, but Kobe White can do all the offensive things you really need a guard to do. Jaylen Brown is someone on the Boston Celtics, the only person I really think is maybe underrated. Maybe not this year, but in previous years I thought he was underrated. It's Jaylen Brown. This year I wouldn't say he's underrated, but I would still say that he's someone you want to have on your team as a defensive player. Having a little bit of a down season, but I think he's overall a good player. Josh Jackson, to be honest, I'm not really a huge fan of his, but once again, defense. But then Kristaps, man. I love Kristaps. Kristaps is, we're talking about 7'3". He blocks everything in his range. He can hit 3. He can drive to the paint. He can post up. He can do a lot of things. He's the future. And then you got Miles Turner, who did he lead the blocks lead the league in blocks? Is that right? He was definitely up there.
I'm a big Miles Turner guy.
I really like Miles Turner. And so I think that team has all around good, solid players, a good defensive team as well. And I know you think I'm biased, Hayden, but I'll get to a list later that you're going to be a little surprised by.
He's going to pick a Duke team.
Yeah, I'll have a Duke team up there.
I know who he's going to pick.
So my second team, I'm going with the October lineup. Ben Simmons, Buddy Hield, Cam Johnson, Lauri Markkanen, and Mitchell Robinson. Buddy Hield, that's a really, really good three-point shooting team with Hield, Cam Johnson, and Lauri Markkanen. Mitchell Robinson is a solid center, very young. I mean, this whole thing is young, but if you let him develop, I think that he'll be a good center for a lot of teams out there. He's not going to dominate the paint or anything, but he's going to get you rebounds and do what centers these days do. And then Ben Simmons, obviously, if he's a jump shot away from being one of the best players in the league. That said, his jump shot is really bad, but he is a star. And so I have to go with that team, especially in today's NBA. And my number 1 team is July. I've got Jamal Murray, Landry Shamet, Jason Tatum, Zion Williamson, and Goga Bitadze. I don't even know if I said that right, but Bitadze. Look, Jason Tatum, while I think he's a little overrated, I think that he has superstar potential. Zion Williamson has superstar potential. Jamal Murray is someone who's underrated, and he can really score pretty much at will.
As we saw last night.
What'd you say?
I said, as we saw last night.
Yeah, there are times when he just goes off, and I think that he could be really, really fun to watch. Landry Shamet adds some three-point shooting and a little bit of defense, and Bitadze, no one really knows much about him yet, but he's being projected pretty highly in this upcoming draft. But I think Jason Tatum and Zion Williamson put that team out of reach for really any roster on this lineup. And Ian, I know March being left off my list may surprise you a little bit. They're probably at my number 4. I do like them. I love Luka. You know this.
No, your number 1 surprises me more than March not being on your list. Just because I know Jamal Murray is an up-and-coming player. You've got superstar potential on your list, but that's what it is. It's potential. And you've got 2 college players that haven't even touched an NBA court, when you've got these other teams that are filled up with just NBA players.
No, Landry Shamet plays what he's on the Spurs, is that right?
The Clippers.
He's on the Clippers, okay.
Yeah,
I should have gotten that down a little bit better, but yeah, he
that hit the 3 to finish the Warriors.
Yeah. So he's done a solid job this season. Goga is the only person who hasn't played yet, and I just think that Zion, even if Goga's not that good, I think Zion's going to be very good, at least at the beginning part of his career, with athleticism that he has, and he's someone who we've seen his recovery on defense someone gets past him, they're still in danger. So
yeah, but he hasn't touched
I think the upside of that team is phenomenal.
Yeah, but we're not picking off upside. We're picking off which one we think's the best.
Yeah, and I think that the upside of that team is the best. Plus, where they are now, I have to give it to them as well. I think upside is part of what's involved in this.
So you put all these teams on a court in like tournament form. You think that July team comes out on top?
I think July will be March.
I think, I'm still going with July. I think that they're the best right now, and I think they'd be the best going forward as well. I will say October was close behind them, in my opinion. Just a little bit, but
I kind of jumped into it. That October team's really good.
That's phenomenal.
I can't wait.
Okay. Guess?
Go ahead, guess.
I'm not gonna put in order because I really don't.
That's fine. He's a guess.
All right. Give us your top three, but then give us which one's your favorite.
All right. Top three would have to be February, October, and definitely probably May. And then
Kobe White, baby.
I'd go with.
Yeah, I know what you want to do.
I'd go with. I want to say March, but I just don't. I don't know how RJ is gonna do.
Yeah,
that's my biggest thing. But like, I'm gonna go with July. I feel like July would be the. It's either July or May. I don't know. July or May.
He knows July is the best. He knows it. You know why? Because I said it. That's why.
No.
That's right. Go on, Hayden.
I want to hear Hayden.
Hayden's always looking annoyed. He's always looking annoyed.
Yeah, but then he opens. He looks like he looks at us with such disdain, and then he makes his picks, and they're garbage.
Yeah, he's got chronic annoyed face. That's what it is.
Yeah.
All right, my number 3 team is the July team, with the same reasons that Kennedy said, and I think I'm probably the highest on Jamal Murray out of the three of us.
I love Jamal Murray, but yeah, you probably are.
Him and De'Aaron Fox are probably my 2 favorite young point guards. And then next, second is March. Again, I think I'm higher on Lonzo than probably both of y'all, just because I watched him all year long.
I'm not super high on him yet.
I watch Lonzo. I like Lonzo.
I love the way he passes and plays defense.
Yeah.
His defense is very impressive.
His passing is very impressive.
Yeah.
You got basically 2 point guards on that team.
Yeah.
And one of them can really shoot in Luka. RJ, I'm kind of.
Yeah.
We'll see. I think Jonathan Isaac is a fantastic defender.
Yeah.
And Bam just kind of is high energy. So
Bam's good down low.
Yeah, Jonathan Isaac is someone I'm waiting to see him develop on offense, but he is a good.
I agree. Yeah, if he had any sort of jump shot or anything like that, that would be my number 1 team.
Yeah.
But my number 1 team, because of how they fit together, is October.
Yeah.
Because you're giving Ben Simmons 3 knockdown shooters and an interior defender. Mitchell Robinson was second in the league in blocks, by the way, and playing in only 26 minutes a game as a rookie.
Impressive.
Buddy Hield, we talked about Buddy Hield yesterday.
Yeah, I think we're all pretty high on Buddy Hield.
About being underrated.
Shoot.
Cam Johnson, Kennedy, I know you love that man.
I do.
I love him because he just knocks down everything.
Yeah.
He's a great jump shooter. And then Lauri Markkanen is also a good 3-point shooter.
So you know how much I love Cam Johnson. Cam Johnson, I just love Cam Johnson. He made everything. He was automatic from 3. I think he shot like over 45% on three this year at North Carolina.
27.
So yeah, it was really fun to watch him. As far as an NBA fit, he actually might be the only reason that I bring that team down. And that's not I guess that's a knock on him a little bit. I think he's going to be good in the NBA.
Not star potential.
I don't think he's going to start. I think he's going to be somebody who comes off the bench, hits threes when you need your guys to get a break. He'll be somebody at the end of the game you need a three-pointer to be made. You bring him in, and he's at least a threat. I don't think that he gets to the rim as well as he does in college when he moves on to the NBA.
He's
and
kind
I don't
of slow.
His defense is phenomenal, but he could be a good 3-and-D guy. But as much as I loved him in college, I think that he has a spot on an NBA roster. I think any team should want him, but I don't think that he's going to be a starter for years to come.
I think the issue with him is his floor and ceiling are very close. There's not he doesn't have a super high ceiling, but he has a high floor.
Yeah, that's fair. Fair. I never thought I would say that, Hayden. I never thought I would say that's fair to you, but that is fair.
Yeah, that was weird to hear. One more thing before we move on from this. Which team do y'all think is the worst on the list?
Ooh, I'll have to look at that real quick.
Yeah.
I would say September or April.
Hayden.
Those are my two. I think September's the worst.
Yeah.
April right behind it.
I agree. Actually, I might go April 1st and then September 1st. But because you put – I'll go April 1st because Donovan Mitchell is at least holding that September team together. Nas Little is horrible, though. I wanted to like him. I really did. But
and that team
really hurts your team.
That team has 3 college players on it. And none of them are, Bull. If he would have stayed healthy, he could have been a top 7 pick, but injuries. Brandon Clark is like a player that should have played in the 90s.
Yep.
He's like Okafor, kind of really old school.
Yeah.
Nas Little.
Garbage.
I'm sorry, my UNC friend, but not high on Nas Little. Dennis Smith, I hated him even when he was in Dallas.
I like Dennis Smith, but I don't think he's not as good as probably I was hoping he'd be.
Yeah, he did not so far. It's too early to really say what he's going to be, but so far it's been a little disappointing, and it's not really my problem anymore because he got traded.
The steal of the draft, I remember.
Huh?
He was the steal of the draft.
He was supposed to be, and it turned out to be Donovan Mitchell.
To be fair, Hayden, that was from national people. Most people thought that he was the steal of the draft.
That was a big thing, Hayden. That wasn't just Dallas fans saying that.
He was voted on by his peers, his fellow rookies, to win the Rookie of the Year that year.
No, I think who won? Was it Lonzo? No, it was Donovan Mitchell that won, right?
No, it was Ben Simmons.
Ben Simmons.
Oh yeah! Oh my God! He didn't even play.
He'll probably win it the next 5 years if this written. No, I'm just playing.
Dude,
overused joke. I'm sorry.
So pissed. I still have a buddy in Arkansas that gives me hell for that. Like every time we talk about who I think is gonna be Rookie of the Year, he says it's probably gonna be Ben Simmons because he knows that irks me. You're not a rookie. I don't care if you didn't play. You're not a rookie.
Okay, so do you think that Blake Griffin deserved Rookie of the Year when he won it?
Did he play? Did he play his first year?
He missed his first season. I don't remember what injury, but he missed his first season. You don't think so?
You shouldn't be eligible. You sat on an NBA bench for a year, and you got to. If you were a top player before, and then you got to sit on an NBA bench, you got to learn with an NBA team, and then you come out the next year and you play well. I don't think you should be eligible.
That's blasphemous.
No, see, I think that I think it has to be factored. I think that
they're not playing. It doesn't matter if they're sitting.
You don't need – a Rookie of the Year does not matter, but I feel like you should have to be a rookie to win Rookie of the Year.
If you don't play one game in the NBA season, you're a rookie.
You sat on an NBA roster all year. You learned behind an NBA team. You still learned how to play the game with this team.
But you can't play. It doesn't matter.
I feel like you automatically have an advantage over all the rookies that are younger than you coming in because they don't have that experience of being on an NBA roster for a year.
So I agree, actually. I think that you're partially right, but I think that needs to be taken into consideration. So on Blake Griffin's stance, he clearly blew away all the rookies in that season. There was no second choice that was close.
Okay.
So for me, it was like, okay, I don't think he should have been ineligible because I don't think that year of him sitting on the bench would have made a difference. I think that he was still, even if you took that year away, he was still far and away better than them. Ben Simmons, on the other hand, I think that should have been factored in. I would have given it to Donovan Mitchell. Sorry, I can't speak.
It's okay. But, y'all are Ben Simmons haters.
What'd you say?
I said y'all are Ben Simmons haters. I know.
No. Well, yeah. I mean, I guess so, but
I don't hate him because of who he is. I hate him. He's not good at basketball.
Ian, you are the biggest Ben Simmons hater.
He's not good at basketball.
Watch him play. What do you mean?
Ben Simmons
play.
Look, you're treating Ben Simmons like
he's got a Ben Simmons
no, he's funny to watch. Like I watched the game really last night, I think, and like I watched his man like started guarding him behind the free throw line. Like I'm like
he can't shoot.
He cannot shoot the ball,
but yet he's still effective.
Yeah, because
like he's a 7-foot point guard.
That's what I'm saying.
He's cool, but he's not like.
No, I'm not saying he's a star. I'm not as high on him as some of the national media is, and that hurts me to say because he's an LSU boy. But even at LSU, he lacked killer instinct, and I remember talking about this even.
You called him soft. You did not like him.
He was soft.
He still is soft.
He would not take over games, and he was the best player on the floor, and it wasn't even close.
Yep. Don't like him.
Yeah, no, I like Ben Simmons quite a bit, but the only reason I wouldn't have under the rules that are exist now, I would still give him Rookie of the Year last season. But I'm just saying I think that the rules need to be changed to where it factors in the fact that you have the benefit of getting athletic training, rehab from professional athletic trainers for a year, learning the system for a year and a half, really. And
I agree with that, but as
being able to learn behind veterans, I think that needs to at least be considered. But I think that under the rules now, Ben Simmons should have won Rookie of the Year.
But how do you? Where's the line? Where do you draw the line with that? Because to me, it's like I get what you're saying. It does make sense. You need to factor it in, but I don't know how you would weigh that against other players. So to me, just like as a rule of thumb, if you're not a rookie, you can't win Rookie of the Year. I'm not saying I disagree with what you're saying. You're right, but I don't know how
that's
you
a fair question
against other players.
That's a fair question. I don't know where the line would necessarily be drawn, but I do think that it's appropriate. It's like I'm trying to think. So this is not a sports reference, but districting in politics, you're not allowed to do quotas solely based off of race.
Yeah.
In a perfect world, I think they'd probably still do it. But
yeah,
by rule, you're not allowed to do it solely by race, but it can be a factor.
Yeah.
And so now that's a different conversation for a different day. But I think that you can pull it off in different areas, in politics or in other sports conversations or whatever. I'll go even college. You choose Heisman players or even college football playoff teams based on strength of schedule, but there is no definitive line. You just kind of weigh it out in your mind. I don't necessarily think there is really a exact weight to it. I just think you kind of have to wrestle with it a little bit, and that's kind of where I think they should go with the Rookie of the Year award. Yeah,
and I get that, but if you're looking at it from that perspective, you have to pick playoff teams, so you have to do it that way based on strength of schedule. Rookie of the Year, you don't. You can just rule out those that have been in the NBA for a year. So I don't disagree with what you're saying.
Right.
Just I don't think they should be eligible.
Okay. Well, speaking of eligible, I guess we can move on to the next conversation about grad transfers. So on Friday, they're going to be talking about the NCAA is going to be voting on a rule change for potential grad transfer designations. And the proposed rule is that no matter if a grad transfer has a year or two left on his eligibility or her eligibility, the risk is, the proposal is that a grad transfer would take away a scholarship for the year after if that grad transfer doesn't finish his secondary degree within one season. And so I kind of want to throw that out there. What do you think about that rule proposal, Hayden? And if you want me to read it from an excerpt or from an article, I can read the specific rule proposal.
So what they're proposing is basically you would be charged a scholarship.
Yeah, after the player is probably already gone.
Yeah, no, I don't agree with that. We were kind of talking about this even before we started recording, but I'm along the same lines as Ian, and I think you too. I don't think just because you transfer at the end of the season, you should have to sit out a year anyway. Okay. I think
even if you don't graduate.
Yeah. But in terms of what we're talking about right now, I would vote against it. I think that's incredibly stupid.
Yeah, I don't like it.
They've already done the work of graduating, so why? I don't know. I completely disagree with that.
Yeah.
It's NCAA trying to have more power again.
I don't feel like I know enough about it to really hold a very strong opinion on it. But like Hayden said, I agree with him. I'm against it. I don't think it makes a whole lot of sense. But that's just my take. I don't know a whole lot.
So part of the reasoning behind it is a lot of grad transfers are emerging kind of here in the last few years, and I don't necessarily see why that's a bad thing. So yeah, sure, I guess big schools get the advantage of being able to get grad transfers because they're big schools. They're good programs.
I mean,
and that's what I would be against transferring to transferring without sitting unless you graduate. So I'm a little different in that regard. I think that could be a dangerous path I think that would open up a lot of I think that would tilt towards the big program's favor. If so like Lamar Jackson, for example, if he just wanted to transfer a few years ago to any college in the country, I think that would have heavily benefited the Alabamas, the Alabamas, the LSUs, the Georgia schools.
Yeah.
I don't think that there would have been any small school that would have had any chance had players of his caliber been given the opportunity to transfer wherever they want without sitting a year. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it makes things more competitive, I guess.
Yeah. I think it's different for football than basketball because, you look at just this past year in basketball, Texas Tech, who's not a big-time, basketball school up until the last couple of years, I guess. They got the leading shot blocker in the country last year. What's his name? From Syracuse and St. John's. Tariq, whatever his name is, the center. And then Matt Moody, who became, their second and third most important players.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it depends on the situation, but I think I'm still against it in general.
Yeah, I'm in regards to the grad transfer rule itself. I think that the rule proposal is really stupid. I think that the NCAA, this is why nobody likes them. They just restrict.
Yeah.
So I understand. While I don't think that undergraduate players should be able to transfer and be eligible immediately, I understand why people would think that they should. I think that's if that happened, I don't think that I would be incredibly opposed to it. I would just be a little bit wary of the repercussions of seeing big teams become even bigger.
Yeah.
But as far as grad transfers, athletes go to school to get degrees. That's what you're trying to promote with giving scholarships to players, who were coming to play for your team. You're trying to get them to either be become professional athletes or become responsible citizens of the United States. Yeah. So the whole reason that they made graduate transfers a thing in the first place was to encourage you getting your degree and then also encourage you to get your master's degree. And to me, I think that you're discouraging maybe a little bit of both of those if you take away the rule or change it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Simply to prevent people from being able to transfer to whatever school they're offered. But I don't know. I just think that that's a little bit. It's just really, really restrictive, and the NCAA already restricts players enough. I think that it's kind of.
That's what I think my issue with it is. I think, if they were more loose in terms of, other things, then I think I would be a little bit more, back and forth on the fence. But me personally, I'm so tired of the NCAA. I think that, it's a $1 billion organization that, is so against, like even promoting like kids getting the benefits of what they're bringing to their school.
Yeah.
In a separate issue, I don't know. That's a longer conversation.
We saw recently that Kyle Guy wasn't even allowed to get wedding gifts.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
His wedding. That's restricted.
Yeah.
Players can't sign a jersey and get paid for it, or be able to write a book, or show up make their own YouTube channel, things like that.
Yeah.
Have their own deals. I think that that's really restrictive, and nobody else in the country has to deal with that sort of restriction. Maybe I shouldn't say nobody else, but generally most people, 90% of the people in the United States can do whatever the heck they want without a governing body restricting them from being able to make money on their own.
Yeah.
And so then you add the fact that they can't even transfer to the school that they want to once they're graduates. I don't know. I just think that that's
much.
more of NCAA trying to control the lives of people that are doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Exactly.
Yeah. Their foot is already implanted into the lives of those players enough. I don't know why they feel they need to keep restricting and restricting.
That's I think my biggest point is, I'm quite frustrated with how I feel like they keep trying to restrict and restrict and restrict more in terms of, because you have all these in terms of even high school kids can go into the G League and the NBA now, essentially. Get paid. So, I'm afraid that the more and more the NCAA restricts, that it's going to take more and more talent away from college.
Push.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
I just think it's a moral issue, and I think you're right. It could really direct the best athletes to a different league. But even aside from that, I just think that what they're doing is simply just not good. I don't think it's good for players. I don't think it's good for them. I don't think it's good for anybody to not allow them to be able to have basic rights. And of course they have some benefits too. I'm not trying to discount the fact, scholarships are nice, being, getting free clothes and things like that. That's nice, but I don't think that quite makes up for the time that they put in, the money that they make their schools and the NCAA overall. I just don't think that it makes up for it. And so this whole grad transfer thing, I think, is just another symptom of the NCAA being kind of a dictatorship. But I don't know. That's really all I have to say about that.
Yep.
So either of y'all have any remaining thoughts? No.
Yeah.
Well, that's all we have for today. What'd you say?
Yeah.
Too heated on the NCAA.
Yeah, no, the NCAA is kind of trash, but we'll probably talk about the NCAA in the next few days. We have, at least not the NCAA directly, but we'll have talk about the draft and both college basketball and football players, or excuse me, the NBA and NFL. And so anybody who's listening, thank you for listening. We'll be talking about those topics here coming soon. The NFL draft is, I think, in a week and
a half, right?
Days. Yeah.
Thursday.
So, next Thursday. So we'll be talking about that here soon. But thank you for listening. And if you have any suggestions, go ahead and send them our way. We should be making a Twitter page here soon.
Yes. It will be out by this weekend.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So, yep. Thank you for listening. And we will see you next time.
Yeah.